Howdy, folks. Seth here, BWSS podcast. As you can see, I'm all by myself. Holiday weekend, right in between Christmas and New Year's, giving the crew the week off. Actually, Lucas and I were going to listen to our first podcast ever and kind of talk over it and make fun of it or comment on it. And we started doing it, and it just wasn't working. We found ourselves really wanting to listen to what we were saying on episode 1. So ended up deciding it wasn't going to work. So that being the case, I'm just going to we're going to do a BWSS Select. It's our first one ever. So it's the first episode we ever did. My voice is a lot deeper, interestingly enough. Back then we were working in just audio. There was no video component. So a little bit of a different situation. You could see that it was just the three of us. That was when Camilo was supposed to be here for our first show. No show Camilo, didn't show up. But since then, obviously, Camilo's our most visited guest. But anyway, here we go. BWSS episode 1. This is from 2016. Hope you guys enjoy. Boom. Yeah, so this is it. What do you think of that? So first we have some ideas for what we wanted to talk to, but due to recent events, we thought we'd cover bailing on friends, like right off the bat, because it's a little bit of a hot topic right now. Because originally we had somebody who was supposed to fill in for us. Actually, not fill in for us. He was going to be here for our first podcast, and then literally the minute he was supposed to be here, he decided to bail on us. And you lost her. You were with him at that time, weren't you?
Yes, I was.
Yeah, so that didn't really work out so well. And so my brother Lucas here, who was going to be normally doing our research, decided. I decided for him. He didn't really decide. He actually does our research. Yeah, seriously. He happened to be in the bathroom. I was like, "Hey, what's up, bro?" I was like, "I hope you don't mind talking because we're going to be recording your voice right now."
He was like, "Hold on, I'm taking a shit."
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty. I would say that's probably fairly accurate. Yeah. So he normally would be sitting in front of the computer doing any research we need or looking stuff up and kind of making sure everything's going. So I actually have the computer screen facing me with a keyboard in front of me, and I'm going to try to hold this down a little bit while we go through this. But I think it's pretty safe to say that Camilo probably isn't going to be invited back. What a dork! The first one, he said he wanted to be here.
Hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, it was a soccer match that. What's that?
And his team lost.
And that would do it.
Yeah, his team lost.
Really?
Yep. They lost. The Brazilians beat the Colombians today. 2-1.
Damn. I didn't even know what the game was. I mean, he watches soccer all the time. The only reason he still pays $100 and some for cable is just so he can watch soccer. We've had this discussion.
Yep.
So I didn't realize it was actually his home country.
Do you think if he won, he would have came?
I think so. I mean, yeah, because don't you think he would have maybe wanted to I think so. Like, I could see myself, I'm a diehard Eagles fan, by the way, out there, all you football people. So I could see myself, maybe not in this sense, like bailing on a friend, his first freaking podcast after I asked him to go and all that. But I could certainly see myself bailing on like dinner out or like a night out on a club for an important game with the Eagles losing to like the Cowboys or something like that.
Yeah, you're right. Maybe.
I was gonna actually text him and tell him to like not drink so much.
Nah, he wasn't drunk.
So
we would have took that.
I wouldn't have, but that would have been a little bit more acceptable to like, what?
I would have took that as an excuse.
Oh yeah, I mean it would have been acceptable, but now that I'm finding out he's not even drunk, now I'm even more like disappointed. Yeah, like if he was there like sloshed and shit, like all right, he's just that shit happens. But yeah, now that I know he's over there and completely sober, that's kind of bullshit. I'm just saying.
No, not completely sober, but
Yeah. Fair enough.
For sure.
So, all right, Lucas, don't say too much.
I'll try not to.
Yeah. So, what are your thoughts on bailing? Any recent bailing events for you? You had to like bail out of a plane or bail some water out of a boat or anything like that?
Of course, you would expect a story like that from me, wouldn't you?
Yes, of course I would. So anyway, moving on to our topics, we were actually going to just start off with, I think, Colin Kaepernick, probably, just because he seems to be the hottest topic right now. And not only that, it's a story that keeps evolving, and it started off as something simple. In fact, he had kneeled before I think people even noticed it, and then all of a sudden, one person kind of got wind of it, and it just took off.
He didn't kneel the first time. He kneeled the second time, right?
No, actually, no, that's right. He kneeled. I'm sorry, you're absolutely right. He kneeled the second time. The first time he sat.
Yeah, he sat.
But I don't think that was the first time he sat. I think he had like one time before that also had, and it didn't really get picked up. But this time it did get picked up, and now everything. And I gotta admit, I'm kind of on the fence. Like I could kind of go either way with this. You have your all-American like freedom of speech and blah blah blah, and then of course you can certainly sympathize with where he's coming from.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. What he's talking about, it makes sense. I don't know if I would do the same thing that he's doing, because the flag means a lot to a lot of different type of people, and even for the oppressed people, they still pledge of allegiance to the flag all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like it's not against the flag. It's just he's just mad about what everybody is standing for, and it's not going on right now.
So do you think that maybe he decided, because obviously the stance that he's taking, he knows is going to be very polarizing.
Oh, for sure.
I'm probably one of the few people who is literally on the fence. I think most people are just like, screw that, seriously. So I wonder if he decided to do it because it was going to be so polarizing, and he knew that, it would cause a big stir. If he was like, you know what, I'm just going to sit down, and if no one notices, that's fine. This is just a personal thing, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah, but like who goes to watch preseason games while the Pledge of Allegiance is going on to see that's actually going on? Like, it had to be something for them to bring it up. It's not just something that just comes up out of nowhere. You know what I mean?
Well, somebody definitely noticed it. And this is after the whole Gabby Douglas thing too. Like everyone gave her crap for not holding her hand over her heart and blah blah blah. God, so what? Like who cares? Yeah. Like I don't really mind that. I will say that when the American girls were Aly Raisman and Simone Biles, right? When I look over to my brother to like make sure he's the research guy. So I think the two of them. When they were going for their medals, I could definitely see her just kind of Gabby Douglas just kind of sitting there like not standing up and clapping, kind of pouty face, blah blah blah. And I will admit, right there, I'm not saying she was hating, but she was definitely a little bit disgruntled.
Well, she probably was upset. You know what I mean? Like, she was upset. Like, so it's like
Cam Newton got upset, bro. That guy was everyone's favorite. He was next in line for a Chunky Soup commercial, bro. And then all of a sudden, he just lost it.
Blew it last minute.
And it happens, man. This is the second time she's gone through this too. This isn't the first time. So everyone gave her crap for that, and now they're giving Colin Kaepernick crap.
I didn't even know Kaepernick was like adopted by white people. Like, you know what I mean? Like I had no I never knew what he was until like the fro came and he's sitting down, and I'm like, okay, like I don't know, maybe nobody would have cared.
Well, somebody would have cared, but would it have been such a big deal? I can say if it was if it was a white guy doing it for the same reasons, it would have probably gotten picked up more. Which is why it's actually pretty cool that Rapinoe, the soccer player from the U.S. Women's national team, decided to kneel down in solidarity, just to kind of supportive. And there's a lot of other people that have really started to pick this up and really start to get in with trying to support in whatever way they can. And I think it was a former Green Beret. What's this guy's name? I'm actually looking at it. Nate Boyer. He was a former football player in the Green Beret who met with Kaepernick before a game. The San Diego Chargers, which I think was last Thursday, and he said, can you kneel instead of sit? You don't have to.
That's exactly the thing. Like the first time, obviously everybody's going to be upset about what's going on, but the second time he's like, okay, you know what? I'll take what I did as a wrong, but then when you do half stat flag,
sure,
and it's like something is wrong, but it's still okay. So he's like, yes. I'm an American. I understand what the flag is. I'm going to kneel and take what everybody is basically against of. You need to notice that, yes, it's half good and the other way, not good. You know what I mean?
I kind of look at it as a fair compromise. I really do. I agree with you.
He had to do something because otherwise, like, some people are burning his flags for what?
Because burning his jerseys.
Yeah, burning his jerseys. You're right. Like really, like it's not.
Yeah, in fact, I saw this one 49ers fan who actually like saluted his jersey as it was burning and do. And it's like, okay. And I can understand that. It's very polarizing, but I do agree with the fact that kneeling down is a really, really nice compromise.
Yeah, for sure. He's still respecting whatever people are saying that he's disrespecting.
Yeah. Did he have his hand? He didn't have his hand over his heart. I don't even know.
No, I don't know.
That would be awkward. Wouldn't that be weird? You're like kneeling with your hand over your heart. I wonder if Rapinoe had her hand over her heart. I don't have a video of that.
I think he had a teammate with him sitting down. Like,
well, he's not the only one, actually. Yeah, there's a couple others that actually sat down. And not only that, Obama somewhat defended him a little bit, you know?
I didn't see that.
No, where is it? Actually, let me pull it up. Well, actually, the headlines say that he defended him, but you know how that is. When it comes to this is quoting Obama. When it comes to the flag and the national anthem in the meaning that it holds for our men and women in uniform and those who fought for us, that is a tough thing for them to get past. But I don't doubt his sincerity. I think he cares about some real legitimate issues that have been talked about. If nothing else, he's generated more conversation about issues that have to be talked about. So he's not necessarily saying I support it, but at the same time, he's like, hey, you know, he's bringing attention to things that need more attention, and you really can't fault him for that.
Not at all.
Not at all.
And there's veterans that agree with him as well. You know what I mean? So it's like they'll sit there and say, you know what, you're right.
So the question is, moving forward, does it start to pick up and become more pervasive, or does it kind of die down, or does it remain stagnant? You get maybe 5-10 more people that join, and that's really it.
I feel like it'll probably go on for 2 more weeks of football start.
You think?
Yeah, because football season is about to start, real season. You know what I mean? Everybody's gonna watch, and it's gonna be brought up more often, and then it's gonna be done.
Lucas, prediction?
I'm going to have to agree with him because it's one of those fans. There's going to be a protest for it, and it's just going to die all. And
everything dies on. When somebody is saying, when musicians die, the first week they're like, "Yo, we listen to this guy's music all day. Next year we listen to him on his birthday, and after that, it's over." You know what I mean? It is what it is. It's not as simple. That one is more simple than what's going on, but when news things, it just goes away.
I actually think it's going to keep picking up and it's going to keep moving forward. Eventually, it will have to die down. I hate to say this, but the reason why is because, unfortunately, it's really not going to make that much of a difference. Not in the short term.
I mean, and nothing really makes that much of a difference.
In this country, it's very, very difficult to make a difference, that's for sure.
It makes us have this show to talk about right now.
That's true. Yep. Well, his jersey has gone up in sales. I think it was the most recent one. He's a number 6 selling jersey right now.
Oh, okay.
For wearing or burning? That's the question.
Yeah, probably number 1 for burning right now, I would say. I can't imagine there's that many people burning jerseys at the moment, but yeah, probably number 1 for burning and number 6 for wearing. That's for sure. But he's also didn't get the starting job. Do you think that had any effect? I mean, he's already a distraction, and let's say it's 50-50 or he was just nudging ahead. I think the distraction factor would probably keep a head coach from putting him in.
Oh man, I talked to someone last week, and they were saying that with all that's going on, he better not distract himself from football because they'll be like, "You need to focus on football because that's what you're supposed to do."
Yeah,
and this is my color skin person. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I'm just okay, it makes sense because you're on spotlight now. Every time, everybody's gonna be watching you. We're in Miami. Nobody, it's somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, he I don't know if you heard this. This was last Sunday, which is I guess a couple days ago now. I guess by the time this podcast gets out, who knows? But anyway, he was supposed to speak at a church. He was invited by the Third Baptist Church in San Francisco's Western Edition. And he agreed to do it. To deliver a quote unquote rousing speech mid-service. But he apparently agreed to speak and he didn't really show up. So I don't really know what's up with that. According to the pastor, quote unquote, Kolin had every plan on being here. But because of the rigors of training, he will not be here. And I can agree with that. I mean, listen, you are It's Sunday, bro. I mean, how are you going to get away on a Sunday during football season?
How far was it from where he is?
I don't know, bro. But just what you're saying, he needs to focus on football,
Yeah,
and this
it's
would be a
football time.
prime example of
Yeah,
not
okay.
doing
Yeah,
that.
you're right. That's
So
exactly,
why would he agree to do it in the first place? Is my, I mean, and not only that, he donated $1 million. Let me see where he donated that.
He did that for what? What do you think he did that for though? Like,
Well, exactly. That's the question I wanted to know, because straight up, seriously, he could have done it, in my opinion, for two reasons. One, because he really just wanted to do it to get people off of his back.
no, you know what? I don't think it was that.
Or in my opinion, he did it to show them that he's to really show them that he's trying to do this for the right reasons.
Yeah, that's
what I want to believe.
Exactly. That's what I think. That's what it is.
Because I think if you're going to throw yourself out there and completely put yourself, under the line of proverbial fire, I really think that you are the type of person that's going to do things for the right reasons.
Yeah. I can't remember exactly why he what was. It has to be. I don't remember the reason why he donated $1 million, but it was just like maybe because to ease the tensions between with the groups. You know what I mean? Like between what's going on. This is like I'm not doing it against. It was a foundation or something, a charity.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, it was a charity. Basically, what people were saying that he was against, which is not against.
Yeah. So this would normally be Lucas's job, by the way.
Okay. So he wasn't like he's trying to say he's not against whatever. Like people are, I don't know, like anybody's parents who are in the military or like my neighbor was a veteran, for example.
Yep.
He's always gonna stand and pledge. You know what I mean? But like whatever people thought that Kaepernick was against, he was just like, no, I'm not against this. I'm donating $1 million to your charity. I can't remember what it was though. Like,
no, I have it right here. He the 49, he donated $1 million to charities that help communities.
Okay.
It's not saying anything specific, but according to this one, let me see if I can find something that's a little bit.
So then, if that's not it, then then maybe it is to ease off his back. Then
okay,
you know what I mean?
You know what it says? They're all saying he's going to donate to charities, and they're all saying that. So I don't think he's actually done it yet. But it sounds like he's choosing several different charities in which to donate to.
But one of the things was I can't remember. It was something that people had to say, like that they feel like he's against whatever's going on here, but he wasn't against that. He sat down for one reason. You know what I mean? No,
he just sat down because he personally feels that the way the country is going right now is not the country that he feels deserves for him to stand. And I think also, see, that's the thing. Did he do it because he wanted to be recognized for it? Did he do it because he wanted people to see it and he wanted to bring attention to it? Or did he do it because he personally just wanted to sit down because this is not the country that he wants to stand for? Because that really will, I mean, that's a big question.
He says because he doesn't want to stand for it. That's why. That's his reason. He just wants to sit down because it's his personal thing.
But I mean,
like the real motive is what you mean. Like I can't answer that one. I don't think he went as far as to think. Well, I mean, he has to know everybody sees him, everything that he does at all times.
Yeah, well, especially now. I mean, he's got his freaking afro out. I love it, dude.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. That's what I'm saying. He looks completely different from what I've seen him before.
Well, honestly, if you're gonna do it, just freaking go for it, man. Absolutely. Sure. Let's take a break, and we'll come right back. We're live, by the way. I figure if we're gonna if we're gonna talk about bailing again, let's break. We just got into another bailing session.
After every break, I guarantee for the rest of the time we're doing this podcast that someone's gonna.
Yeah, I just turned off the AC. That's how freaking shit, man. So yeah, but we're right. So we're back, and speaking of bailing, we actually were talking about a friend of ours, Ricky, who. She said he wanted to. Actually, I thought about him coming in. I thought he would be someone cool to kind of fill in.
Well, he actually wanted. He was like, "Oh yeah, can I come the first day?" And I'm just like, I think Seth told that we're the 2 or 3 of us were going to be here, and then we're going to start inviting people.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Oh, am I someone?" I'm like, "Yo, you know how you are about your place, your studio.
Yeah.
You don't want people coming here that you don't know it's already you're not planned for."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Exactly.
Well, I mean, there's only so much space like in here.
There's
and
only
it
one more
gets
chair.
hot.
There's only one more chair here.
We're
That's
not
it.
we're not like up in New York where it's starting to get chilly. We're in Miami and it's freaking hot here, even in the winter. So, or even in the summer, or yeah, even in the winter. Imagine that. But yeah, I mean, with like this place filling up. But yeah, I thought I'd totally be into him actually filling in for podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
I just wish he would have freaking got into the damn fantasy football like he said he was going to. You have any? So yeah, he bailed on that, and he like Camilo, bro. He was like, he texted me. He was like, "Yo, you doing fantasy this year?" I'm like, "Absolutely. I run 2 leagues." And let me tell you, it is a pain in the ass trying to get everyone together and get everyone's freaking money and get all these people that come in. I send all these emails and it's like, "Oh, I didn't get the email." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, you didn't freaking get it. Whatever."
It's hard. It's hard to plan things.
Yeah. So anyway, speaking of bailing, but yes, Ricky, you can come and sit in with Losner and I. Provided you actually show up. Unlike Camilo, who wasn't drunk, by the way, just decided not to show up because his team lost. I didn't realize his commitment.
They did lose today, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You already said that, bro. You're the one who told me.
Dumbass.
So, all right. So we are going to move into let's go into the Stanford rapist dickhead.
Yeah, we're calling him the wrong thing, by the way.
Oh, really?
They're starting like no, we're saying the right. They're calling him the swimmer, the not Olympic athlete lead. What did they say? Oh, the greatest swimmer at Stanford just got out of jail instead of saying rapist from Stanford got out
Well,
of
if
jail.
you actually look up Stanford rapist, the first thing that comes up right now as of today is Stanford rapist Brock Turner registers as sex offender. So, bro, he has not had an easy time, as I'm sure you can understand why. And before we even get into his release and some of the shit he's had to deal with, how the fuck did he get released? Like, seriously, like,
he only got a 6-month term, a 6-month sentence. Like,
For
I mean,
3 felonies.
oh my god,
Convicted for 3 sexual assault felonies.
wasn't it behind a dumpster or some shit like that?
They found him. A couple of students found him assaulting a unconscious girl behind a dumpster, and they stopped it.
Did the judge get in any trouble for this? No.
No, not. So what happened was they went.
By the
through
way,
trial.
this is your topic, so that's why you're kind of leading this.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. I'm just letting
Yeah.
I'm letting the listeners know because, admittedly, I spent a lot of my time researching the Kaepernick thing and the next topic we're going to talk about. Unfortunately, Lucas didn't get a chance to research anything because he was going to be doing research live while Camilo sat in his chair. So anyway, Losner.
Yeah. So he's what happened was a couple of students from the school found the gentleman behind the dumpster, as I said earlier. Not the gentleman, the rapist, obviously. Sexually assaulting the girl behind the dumpster, and they stopped him, and he got arrested or whatever. And he went through a long trial, not a long trial, but a trial, and he got found guilty. And when the sentence was coming, the judge only gave him 3 months. 6 months in jail, 5 years probation. And and he was saying that the reason he sentenced him that was because he was going to go through a hard time in jail or a hard time in prison, so they didn't want to do that to him.
Yeah, no shit. That's the whole point.
Yeah, but like the whole thing is when you do a crime, you're supposed to go spend your time wherever whatever you did. If that's what should happen, it doesn't matter what your punishment is. Oh, it's going to affect them. Yes, it should affect you. You should never do whatever you did. You do the crime, you pay the time. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. So
who's that other dickhead white boy who he like drunk driving or something like that?
Oh, the one that
Affluenza boy.
Yeah, affluenza. That's right.
Is that the one that killed like 2 friends a long time ago?
Yeah, at a DUI accident, and because of his money, it seemed like he kept on his way out of jail.
Yeah, and he was younger. Then when he violated probation and ran away.
Caught him in Mexico.
Yeah, caught him in Mexico. So he was gone for like forever. Like, you know what I mean? And then where is he now? Is he out?
That's actually, I'm gonna look him up. Who? I'm just gonna look up Affluenza boy. I bet you it comes up.
Of course, look it up. And
sure does. Ethan Couch, dude. He even has his own Wikipedia page right now.
Fuck that one.
That is unbelievable.
So
all right,
here's the thing: with the Brock Turner case.
Yeah.
The judge was also from the same school that he was going to, and Brock Turner was a great athlete with his swim team at his school, and his father also went to Stanford, right?
Okay.
And a lot of people feel like, they let him off easily because, he was affiliated with the school that the judge was on. Actually, and right now the judge stepped down from the bench. He's only doing non-criminal cases now, I think.
The guy who gave him, is it a guy? Is it a guy or a girl?
It's a guy.
The guy gave him, the guy that gave him 6 months is no longer okay.
Yeah, no longer.
Do you think he was pressured, or do you think he got so much backlash that he was like, screw this? Or
I feel like maybe he knew he was wrong after he heard after everything that's gone on. Maybe he just felt like, maybe I'm wrong, and then he just stepped down, or maybe he was gonna get fired, and they said, you know what, we're gonna take your resignation and then step down. I don't know. I'm not sure why. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, nobody knows why. Only he knows why. But like,
real quickly to support your earlier statement, there's an article here that says media continues to refer to Brock Turner as a Stanford swimmer than rapist.
yeah, he's a rapist. Like, I mean, I have a daughter,
But that's really messed up for like Stanford swimmers.
do you think it's messed up for Stanford swimmers or messed up?
Well, no, like all the good Stanford swimmers who are, like just swimming for Stanford, and all of a sudden, like, you're basically being referred to as a rapist, sort of, kind of. That'd be like, like we all work at this restaurant, and somebody from our restaurant, gets whatever for rape, and all of a sudden, let's say it's, I don't want to use, I know we could get in trouble here for using one, but let's say it's freaking like blah, blah, blah restaurant. So instead of saying, Johnny the rapist, it's Johnny blah, blah, blah restaurant. Now everyone that works at blah, blah restaurant's going to feel like a dickhead.
Oh, you think that maybe it's worse? Is it worse for them to say Stanford rapist? Maybe.
Well, I think Stanford rapist would single him out as a rapist, as opposed to like now you have like anyone who's a swimmer for Stanford. There's no way you can hear that and not think about this fucking guy.
Oh man, you know what? You're right. But then at Stanford, maybe Stanford is gonna, like, I don't know, maybe have more security, maybe have more bans on certain things.
Well, I would hope so.
I don't remember which college. It might have been Stanford, but there's a college that now they're banning hard alcohol.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, like all together.
Yeah, all together. Yeah, not all that one college. I don't remember what it was. Because of stuff that's happening.
Here,
like that.
I'll look it up right now. While I'm doing that, you were saying you have a daughter. I cut you off. Sorry.
Yeah, I have a daughter, and if my daughter gets raped or something like that, that's crazy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not something that 6 months. I don't know what I would do at the end of the day. Like, if somebody comes to me and this is what happened, that sentence means nothing. Like, somebody probably would have been outside the courthouse.
Oh, here we go. It's actually Stanford.
Oh, it is
Stanford bans hard alcohol at campus parties.
Yeah, because they probably
Well, what choice do they have, really?
Yeah.
Great job,
They have
great job over there doing the research.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, this is
You're
your
welcome.
job.
Yeah.
That's right. As long as someone else does the talking.
Maybe we should give him the computer so he could just.
Over there?
Yeah.
No, he's certainly not saying
Yeah.
anything. Jesus. Well, no, I mean, I have this big 27-inch screen in front of me. It's actually nice, but, I mean, he's actually in my mic booth right now, so there's really not room. I mean, he could maybe put the laptop on his lap, but
Okay, cool.
I'm a control freak. Who knows? Maybe next week when he's actually running this, it'll really get on my nerves, and I'll want to take it back, but I doubt it.
Now you see what you did? You're probably going to be out of this for sure.
Yeah. No worries.
As long as nobody bails.
Yeah, right? Seriously. Your automatic standing for next Baylor. Freaks. Anyway, all right, so this guy gets out, and after 3 months, which was, I don't know, not that long ago.
It was supposed to be 6 months, and now it's 3 months. And
for good behavior, do we know?
well, anytime you go to prison, I don't know how the jail thing works, because I've never seen anybody get a sentence like that for rape, getting found guilty of rape.
Yep.
But if you go to prison, if you get 2 years, you only have to do 3/4. Yeah. So if you do 1 year, you're only doing 9 months.
Okay.
If you don't do anything wrong.
Well, he did half, so he definitely beat. That's another way. And based on what you're saying, that's another way he beat the. But his father went to Stanford, whatever, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
I don't really.
We have to see if the father went to Stanford. I don't remember.
Okay.
But like, it's like those. I don't think it's a privilege of color. Like I think there's a lot of topics of has been of color. I think maybe the judge just saved him. Because like a lot of people that are alumni of certain things, like when you walk in or if you're part of fraternity, you're like, oh, you know what? I'm applying for their job, and I get the same guy next to me, but I went to the same fraternity as you.
Yeah.
You're hiring your fraternity brother.
Of course.
Yeah. So like, is that the least he could have gotten? I mean, he has 5 years probation, and I mean, I don't know. It's weird.
I've never really had the probation situation, but I would imagine it's
5 years probation when you're like 21.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense.
His probation, I would imagine, means he can't drink probably.
Can't drink, can't do drugs. Even if he gets stopped by a cop in a friend's car, it's a parole violation.
Yeah. And
Wow.
Because he was there at the time of a crime. If he was speeding or even.
There you go.
Even speeding.
Yeah, because your friend's breaking the law.
Maybe we should go make friends with this guy and pick him up.
Well, right. Seriously,
save him for our sisters and our moms. I mean, like, shit.
What's interesting is I would imagine in what you're saying. Obviously, speeding is a something that would be somewhat persnickety, if you will. But cops would definitely freaking probably use it on this guy. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I can say so. Well, this guy, what is it? The Stanford rapist swimmer. Brock Turner, whatever. Yeah, he gets out and gets home to find an armed militia kind of standing in front of his house at all times.
Or like a security?
Like people that are just standing out there just to make him feel uncomfortable.
Oh, okay.
In addition to getting his house egged, which is more recently, as a matter of fact. In fact, it's funny because. The Stanford rapist more recently asked the cops for protection from angry citizens. So it keeps getting worse for this guy, and I would imagine like the similar. Well, who's that guy here in Florida that killed Tavon
Zimmerman?
Yeah, Zimmerman. That guy was just a runaway train man. I mean, he went through all that crap, and there was so much negativity. It just ate away at his soul, and by the time he was finished, he was probably a shell of whatever piece of shit he was to begin with. And I would imagine this guy is probably going to be having a similar situation.
Zimmerman, he was shot afterwards, wasn't he?
No, he wasn't shot.
No, but he twice was like brandished a gun, like on like a girlfriend, ended up calling the cops, whatever, blah blah blah. And then I think in Texas or something like that. But I would imagine this guy is probably going to have one of those lives where he just keeps, falling deeper and deeper. But the only thing is because
they're gonna forget about him now.
Yeah.
I mean, like, how long do you think we're gonna talk about Brock Turner? You think next week we're talking about Brock Turner? Like, unless he does something ridiculous, like.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine in the media, you're probably right. It's probably going to die and kind of move forward. But I would imagine they're going to be on his ass and just making his life miserable for a really, really, which of course he deserves, really long time.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, the registered sex offender is going to take care of that. He's going to be miserable no matter what.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to go anywhere. He's not going to be able to get a job. He's not going to be able to go close to any schools. He can't even play Pokemon now.
Yeah. I heard about that.
Could you imagine? Like now, you can't even play Pokemon Go, bro.
Do you play Pokemon?
Do I?
Yeah.
Well, I indulge a little.
You're
bit.
welcome.
Oh yes, just say.
Did you
welcome.
see my recent meme? I put it because I take.
The cab.
Yeah, I take an Uber. I take an Uber to and from. So it's a good time to hit those Pokestops here in Miami, and then I put that meme up. Uber driver drives too fast for Pokestops. It's just drive a little bit slower. I can probably catch him. But my excuse for playing is that Lucas here, he got me into it. And actually, he told me about it before, like a week before I started playing. I remember he's like, yeah, everyone's playing these Pokemon. I was like, whatever, bro. That's crap. I don't want to hear Pokemon, whatever.
He's that age. My brother's around his age.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like.
And you started a week after I did, and now you're a higher level than I am.
I'm a good 6 levels ahead of him. But that's also because I take it for runs, I take it for tennis, and you sit here and watch TV.
You know why, Seth?
Yes.
Because you commit to stuff.
That's
and
true.
We're gonna bring back the bailing.
Yes.
And you know what? You committed to that, even though it's Pokemon.
That's true.
And didn't you commit to these mics?
I
did. This whole podcast?
This whole podcast, bro.
Hey,
I put a lot of freaking equipment into making this thing work, which is why I'm pissed off that Camilo couldn't bring his requested ass here. And he wasn't even drunk.
He requested.
Yeah, he requested. You remember, Lucas? You were here.
I was here.
Yeah. It was actually in the living room. He's like, yeah, if you want any help, I wouldn't mind kind of sitting in, do. We waited all night just for him, bro. We could have been done. We could have been like,
Yo, we could have been done by 7:00. I would have been in my bed sleeping
yeah,
till
because you
tomorrow.
texted me at like 5, bro.
Oh, earlier than 5, bro. Earlier than 5.
All right, so Stanford Rapist. So really, really, really quickly. So I don't even want to get into the racial bullshit because, I mean, it's just so prevalent and so out there. And this actually ties right into fucking Colin Kaepernick.
Certain things tie right in. Like, there was it's somewhere in the Midwest, a black gentleman. Well, now we're not gonna call him gentleman because he's still a rapist. That guy.
Yep.
Same charge. Like, then he got like 17 years. 17 years in prison for the same crime that the Turner guy did, and he'll probably be out in 12 years instead of 3 months. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like that good behavior works for everything. So if you're sentenced 20 years. You're only doing 15 years. You know what I mean? But like 6 months to 3 months doesn't make any sense.
So I feel like, I don't know. I mean, the way the legal system works, as far as I know, a lot of times when they're trying like different cases and this and that, they always revert to another case where, like Roe versus Wade, for instance, that they use every freaking time we talk about it's
usually in arguments though.
Well,
yeah, they'll be like, yo, last time they did this, so we should do the same.
So do you think that they could use this to retroactively maybe bring some sentences down for other people? That's the question. I mean, obviously, it's worked for marijuana, that's for sure. There's a lot of people getting out, a lot of people.
Yeah, but how long has that took?
Well, yeah, the main reason they're doing that, though, is just to get people out of the freaking jails, man, because it is just so expensive to keep them in there.
They just sentenced someone to, like, ridiculous amount of time for just, like, having possession of marijuana in a non-legal state.
Really?
Yeah. So, more than the rapist. And, like, what are we going to do? Smoke weed and chill? Like, who cares? It's not that serious, I
hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you.
The most you're going to hurt is a bag of Doritos.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. or two. Just saying.
Or put money into wherever you're going to spend it on. Whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
It's true. Well, unfortunately, this guy's not going to end up back in jail. That's pretty much it. He's not going back in. It's good that the judge isn't being a part of that. Or not involved in any of that crap anymore. But it is really, really messed up. And, and in reiteration, it really ties into the whole Kaepernick thing. And, that's kind of the stuff that puts me on the fence because, with the Kaepernick thing, I really, really want him to stand. And because, yes, granted, there's all these things going on that really aren't what America is, but America's still a great company. But at the same time, or a country. Or company. We are a capitalist nation, aren't we? Very capitalist. Boy, is that a Freudian slip or what?
Yeah, you did.
Why don't you just tell us?
We run it like a company, don't we? Yeah. Especially if freaking if we get Trump in the office. But at the same time, this crap with the Stanford Rapist. That's the type of stuff that makes you want to support what he's doing, which is why his jerseys sales are going up. I would imagine people buying his jerseys are not all from San Francisco. I would imagine a lot of the new people buying his jerseys are the people that live in other areas. So, I'd be curious to see what his global sales are. Just to see if it's gone up globally. To see if like this entire, probably not. Let's take a quick break before we get into our last subject. So moving on to our last topic, and this is the pipeline in North Dakota. Is it North Dakota? It is North Dakota, right? So basically, long story short, they want to put a pipeline that goes right through some sacred burial grounds, in addition to several waterways. And it's actually going through a similar pathway that the Keystone XL Keystone Pipeline project, where that failed. It's actually called the Bakken, Bakken pipeline, and it runs across the Ogallala aquifer. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. Ogallala aquifer, and actually goes through the Mississippi rivers. And they want this pipeline to go under the waterways. And I don't I'm going to see if I can maybe get this up with these pictures on the site. But if you actually look at it before and after of these tar sands, before they went through and after, I mean, before is this beautiful, beautiful waterway with like islands and beautiful trees and grass and really, really nice rivers. And then you look at it afterwards and it's just an absolute decimated black tar, nothing but roads and like little pools of contaminated water. And whether or not these pipeline people, I'm trying to see what the name of the company that's doing
Is it called Beacon?
Beacon. Well, it's the Beacon Pipeline. Is that the company who's doing it? I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, obviously, I would.
That name couldn't have came out of nowhere.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just whether or not they want to put it underneath the water or have all these pipelines go underneath whatever. It's just, I mean, me personally, I can understand what they're going through. Not obviously, I don't have any sacred burial grounds, whatever. But looking at what these companies do when they decide to go through territory, I mean, you wouldn't want them to go through any of that at all. You wouldn't want them to put the pipeline in. You wouldn't want them to completely, take the land and just make it. You can't even plant anything for probably hundreds of years with all the chemicals that they use. And not only that, it's tar sands, which is even like, it's basically like oil that has been trapped in sand. This stuff is just absolutely toxic. But beyond all that, me personally, I don't like the fact that we're still talking about freaking oil, when we're trying to be moving into electricity and electric cars and this and that. I feel like we should be done with this. It's time to stop giving money and subsidies to all these oil companies and just move on. Yeah, Exxon, sorry, it's time to go. Best Buy is closing. I think Sports Authority just closed. Barnes and Noble. I mean, it's time to go. Like, either invest in something that's a little bit more sustainable. If you're not willing, like Polaroid, they're barely hanging on. Because they did one thing. And I'm sorry, but Exxon and Shell and all these companies. If you want to look for oil, that's fine. But I think it's really time to stop like completely ruining land just to find some antiquated or soon to be antiquated energy source.
It's just like things just moving into the future, basically what you're saying. Like,
yeah, and this is this type of thing that slows it down.
There's plenty of things that we don't use anymore. It's just like, what do you want them to do with the oil though?
Gas is, cars. I mean, yes, and jet fuel. I mean, those are the two, like trucks, cars, and jet fuel. I don't care what they do with the oil. Let it freaking sit there.
Yeah, you're right. But then
put it on a freaking truck. If it's granted, I get it, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But like, I just think it's the whole reason we didn't go through with the Keystone Pipeline is this reason. And if you look, everyone out there, look at a map. Look up a map of all the pipelines that are through this country. You wouldn't believe how many pipelines there already are. And when you actually look at that, you can't help but think, do we really need another one? Like, is it really that important? Because there are, it literally looks like roads going through the country. I just think it's enough. So recently, it started off as a nice little peaceful protest, which unfortunately recently the protests in this country have gotten to be extremely polarizing. And more recently, the security firm that is that works for the pipeline company released dogs and pepper spray. Including, dogs. I don't know. I'm sure there's some sensationalization. Is that a word? Sensationalization? Going on saying that like this one kid got bit and there was a bunch of blood and blah, 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 blah. But what I don't like is the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers are the ones who are arguing against the fact that they will ruin the land. And I really don't like our government/army even being involved in this at all. That's what I really don't like.
Who owns the land that the pipeline is going through?
That's a good question. I would assume the Native Americans who are protesting. I mean, it goes through their sacred lands. It goes through a lot of their their stuff. But if the government owned it, I don't even think this would be an issue.
Yeah, but like, how can you protest? Like, if you're protesting it, like, is it like maybe it's a company that owns the land, or they're trying to just get through. Like,
Is it a reservation?
That's a good question. I can say that a federal court says it's going to rule on September 9th on the injunction request. And it was this the Rock Sioux tribe. They're the one that requested an injunction, basically stopping the so-called Bakken pipeline. And he's going to basically find out, we're going to find out September 9th what he has to say. And they're happy that he's actually even going to listen to him. I'm a little bit worried about the fact that when you're talking about judges and you're talking about oil and you're talking about a lot of money in this capitalist nation, there are people who can definitely profit, including a judge. And I hate to say that, but if he rules against it, he would definitely be considered a hero by a lot of people because I'm sure he's got all kinds of reasons to go with him.
The other side is really going to go with him as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely.
But like, here's the thing. Is it the right thing or the wrong thing? Like, I mean, like.
What's funny is it's 47 or 48% complete. They've already like kind of did it. And all of a sudden you get to this spot and it's like, you know? So my question is, how did they not kind of already know that this was going to maybe happen, or maybe they knew it was going to happen, decided to ignore it? You know, it just seems funny that you know, it's halfway done and then all of a sudden it comes to a complete halt. And how long was this standoff? You know, I mean, Willie Nelson was there. There's a lot of people that are showing up in solidarity for these people.
How long has this been going on?
This is, I mean, it's that, well, you know, and
I mean, like
the reason you're asking this question, you and I had this conversation in between our breaks, and you're talking about how before I mentioned it, you didn't even know it was happening. And one of the articles that I was reading was talking about how the news media isn't really picking up on it and why that is, and yada yada yada. It's starting to get picked up a little bit more, but I've only heard about it for the past couple weeks. I don't know if they've been there for a lot longer than that. But yeah, more recently, that's when they started getting the pepper spray and the dogs. And it makes me think of, what was that? What was that process we had that started off on Wall Street?
Destiny?
Huh?
Oh, no, never mind.
There's a pro. Don't worry, I can even edit out the fact that you even opened your mouth right there. But I'm not going to right now.
Leave the laugh though.
Yeah.
But no, it was in Wall Street, and what was it? They all kind of just set up a bunch of tents on Wall Street and like in the parks and this and that and
the walk on Wall Street.
What? Do you remember Wall Street protests? Let me look that up. But it ended up going street.
Why are you so passionate about this subject? I'm curious because I mean, like, I didn't expect when we were talking about the topics and you were just like
Occupy Wall Street. You're talking about this pipeline thing?
Yeah, the pipeline thing. Like,
why? Because, two reasons. One, because oil, like, are we done? I mean, seriously, like, the fact that they want to, I mean, we're done with oil. That's it. Time to move on. Like, and us being a country who literally just, like, 3 days ago ratified the Paris Treaty along with China, which means that we only need a couple more to make it 100% enforceable. That I think we are going to, I don't know what the numbers are, but we're going to severely limit the amount of CO2 that we put in and put up a bunch of stuff to kind of, I guess, laws and regulations to counter CO2 production, stuff like that. We literally just enacted this. And the reason, and part of doing that is the number one thing is to stop using oil. So the fact that, you know, there's all these people that are protesting it. I feel like these Native Americans are protesting it for their own reasons, which is sacred ground, which is protecting the waterways, which is very, very noble. And we appreciate it. I appreciate it because it's bringing attention to this. But my personal thing is oil at this point. Yes, we need it for cars and this and that.
There's no way we can get rid of oil.
No, we're not going to get rid of it. Not anytime soon. I just don't think there's a reason for us to keep building ways.
So you mean like slow it down? It should be slowing down instead of expanding.
And not only that, with the fracking, we are the Saudi Arabia of natural gas. We have more natural gas as far as we know. I mean, there might be places they haven't even discovered it yet, but as far as like the world knows, we have it all. You know, and I just feel like there's no reason for us to be building pipelines, especially when these people, you know, are processing it so much. And not only that, I don't understand how this pipeline can go through when the Keystone pipeline got shot down, and this is almost like a similar pathway.
How long ago was the Keystone pipeline?
It was a huge deal. It was like 4 years ago or so. Because if I remember correctly, Obama decided not to rule on it before the election because he didn't want to basically have it affect him. So he kind of kicked the can on that one. But after he got elected, I think it was pretty much. I mean, it's done for now. You know, I was kind of for it at the time because if we didn't get the oil, they were going to sell it elsewhere, and I was like, well, screw it.
Yeah, because it came from Canada, right?
Yeah, it's all from Canada, absolutely. So I think what's going to happen is they're going to build a pipeline across Canada and sell it to China. You know, and they're
the other way.
Yeah. So. You know, and I wouldn't say I'm passionate about it. It's becoming, you know, something that people aren't talking about too much. And I feel like, you know, it's something that kind of should be discussed. And doesn't mean that all these people are going to be listening to it on my podcast. But,
hey, we
you
can.
know, I know.
Listen to the podcast. The podcast is real. I mean,
yeah, right.
We're not. Nobody's paying us yet. We're doing this just to give you guys something.
Well, we are, not Camilo though, because he can bail him.
Puss-ass.
So anyway, but I mean, we're gonna find out September 9th exactly what's going on with this thing. Any predictions? Anyone? What do you think? I
think we're not gonna hear that much about it.
September 9th? Well, no,
September 9th we'll hear.
No, but do you think the pipeline's gonna go through or not?
Yes.
This is basically the corporation against the people. That's exactly what this is.
It'll go through if it's not on reservation.
So, I mean, I feel
they'll
like
move it around.
Yeah, but why wouldn't they've done that in the first place? That's, you know.
Well, here's the thing. What about the people that are actually protesting this thing? What if they offer them something? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we'll give you this.
Like what? What are they going to offer them?
I don't know.
Native Americans, they live on the land. They have everything they need.
Do they really live on the land at this time of age?
Well,
I don't know. Like, as I said, I have to look it up. But like,
no, they don't live on the land. They don't have like tents and stuff like that.
Obviously not.
But they're very content with who they are. Their land is basically like the most sacred thing that they have, because for even, you know, in towns where people have cars and this and that, blah, 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 they, you know, much like Amish people, in a lot of ways, they're ones that really appreciate, in the most part, the simplicity of life. And in a lot of the simplicity of life is being able to appreciate and take advantage of nature. And this company comes in and is going to screw all that up. You know, not to mention like the pollution. We're not even talking about the pollution of the waterways. You know, in the process of putting this pipe in. Yeah, maybe once the pipe is put in, you do all your drilling and it's in and it's secure. And blah, 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 and it never leaks and never, you know, bursts or whatever.
Hopefully.
Yeah, but let's assume it doesn't. Over the process of putting all of that stuff in, you're gonna. There's just no way to not ruin everything.
You're disrupting everything.
Everything.
Yeah, disrupting everything.
And the waterways. I mean, one of them. I think one of the things they're trying to protect is like this sacred forest that is essentially it's like a small, like, I don't know, I guess a lake or a pond, like a small lake or a big pond. With a bunch of like dead trees that are growing out of it, and they consider every one of those trees to be like an ancestor and shit.
I have to see the map of the pipeline, or like what I need to see who owns each part, or what's the problem of it going through.
Yeah.
Like I need.
I mean,
do you know?
Susan Sarandon was there, you know, trying to help out. I don't know who owns the land.
Not even about who owns. Like, oh man, I don't know. It seems bigger than what it is, but I'm just upset that I haven't heard about it.
Well, that's exactly it.
Yeah, that like I mean,
no, you were like, where? What protest? What pipeline? I'm like, really? Am I the only one that
we came up with? Like you gave me like 5 things, and then the only thing I was like, oh, the pipeline. I'm like, what pipeline? Like,
yeah,
we're not on the other side of the world right now. We're good. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. But,
I hear you.
Yeah.
Well. So I guess we'll find out. We'll find out what's up on the 9th. But I mean, I'm with the protesters on this one. When the Keystone Pipeline first came through, like they were talking about, I was like, you know what, screw it. Why not? Just make it. Just do it. You know, because if we don't get the oil, somebody else is. But here we are, 4 or 5 years later. Like electric cars are all over the freaking place. Tesla is, you know, got just doing amazing things. They're talking about the Hyperloop, which will go from like San Francisco to LA in like 30 minutes and blah 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 blah. None of that needs oil. So I just feel like putting more infrastructure in to cause us to necessitate or even have access to more oil is just going to cause us to be lazy in moving forward with technology. Boom.
I don't know. All right.
So anyway, in closing, I actually had this, I'm trying to find it here. There's this really funny, let me find it, little excerpt that I got. And it was about these kids that had, actually these old guys, I don't want to say old guys, but like, I guess baby boomer type people. And this one guy started off, you guys don't know this, it's pretty funny. So this one guy started off this tweet on Twitter with the hashtag "How to Confuse a Millennial," and basically he started off with a picture of a dial phone. He said, "Ask him to make a phone call on one of these." So a whole bunch of other people decided to get in on this. Okay, with the whole hashtag "How to Confuse a Millennial," and this other guy said, "Show them an antique GPS," which is a picture of a map. Asked them to fax you something. This other woman said, try to fix their video games by blowing on them, which I'm not a baby boomer, but I do remember the Nintendo days. I feel like it helped, even though it probably didn't do show them how to use Google, and then they have a picture of Encyclopedia Britannica. Ask them to work overtime. This one guy, Jason Royale, just simply said, talk to them. But what's funny is the millennials got in on this and they just destroyed them.
Destroyed the older people.
The older people. So here we go. So they come in, they're like, how to confuse a millennial. Have them wake up Sunday morning to a hashtag like this where you were to vilify them for no reason. So he started off really, really nice, but then it gets really, really dirty.
They could have just started with like
how to confuse. Go ahead.
They could have just started with hashtag. What does that mean?
Yeah. Well, they use the how to confuse a millennial. So they go in. So it gets really, really dirty really fast. This girl, actually guy, I thought it was Carl Kinsella, destroy the housing market, replace grad jobs with unpaid internships, and tell them to buy a house. And then it goes on, tweet stuff showing you think millennials are your teenage children living in your house. We're actually in our 20s and 30s. Tell them mental health is important while they run between 3 part-time jobs. How to confuse a millennial. Tell us we need a college education to be successful and then make it impossible to get one without getting into immense debt. And they go on. Actually, and where's the one? This one woman just completely destroyed them. Gratuity Tucci, her name is. Tell us to stop being so reliant on technology while you sit there on life support. So anyway, I think anyone have anything to say? Anything to add? Any stories? No?
I think we're good.
Yeah? All right. Well, thank you very much for tuning in. And we're going to try to do this every week. We'll see how it works out and how many people decide to bail. But you can count on at least the 3 of us. Lucas is going to be filling in whenever people decide that they can't freaking be here, which hopefully doesn't.
That's going to be like our thing. We'll invite 2 people.
Actually, it'll be funny because we won't even talk about it. We're like, and it's Lucas. Then you guys already know that someone bailed. So, but Lazaro and I will be here every time. You can count on that for the most part. If you're wondering why, because we said so. And we will see you guys next week. Appreciate it. Boom.